Hello and welcome back, folks. Now we've got another first for the channel today. For the first time ever, we're looking at 3 watches in one video, all from the same brand, Escudo, and specifically their Ocean Seacrest collection in 3 completely different colorways. We've got the Atlantic Sky, the Midnight Emerald, and the brand new Burnt Horizon all on the bench together. Now a bit of a story on how this one came about. I actually came across Escudo a few months back at a watch show, got chatting with Simon, one of the co-founders, and he was kind enough to send all 3 of these over for review. So a proper thank you to Simon and the team at Escudo for that. Right now, before we get into these watches properly, there's an elephant in the room we need to deal with, because looking at that case and bezel shape, a few of you are already thinking it. That looks like a Tudor Black Bay. And look, I'll hold my hands up here. When I first saw the black dial version of this watch, that was my exact reaction. Man, was I wrong. I was being lazy, because once I actually got hands-on and set my own Black Bay 58 next to the Atlantic Sky, it became pretty clear that the only things these two genuinely share are the case shape and the crown design. Absolutely everything else is different. Now, to be clear, I'm not sat here telling you this is some kind of Black Bay killer. That's not the point I'm making. What I am saying is that Escudo's taken a few basic cues from a genuinely iconic silhouette and built something that stands entirely on its own. And exactly how it does, that is what we're about to find out, watch by watch. That's the Tudor talk dealt with. From here on, this is all about Escudo. So from here onwards, this review will be about the Ocean Seacrest in all its wonderful colors. And there really is so much to unpack on this watch, so let's get started. Now, before we explore the dials in more depth, it's worth talking about what these 3 actually have in common, because they share the same basic foundation and specifications. All 3 share the same 39mm case in 316L stainless steel with polished and brushed facets and drilled lugs. Case thickness is 12.8mm, lug width is 20mm, and the lug-to-lug measurement comes in at 47.5mm. So on paper, this is a properly wearable small to mid-sized tool watch across the board. Case backs a 2-piece closed design on the Atlantic Sky and the Burnt Horizon, and it's a nice touch. It keeps the Shield logo constantly sat in the vertical plane, and it has all the right engravings and touches to make it feel like Escudo really care. The Midnight Emerald breaks from that though. It's fitted with an exhibition case back instead, so you get a proper view of that Calibre 1488 ticking away. The crown's a screw-down steel unit with a black embedded enameled logo across all 3, and up top you've got a sapphire box crystal with triple anti-reflective coating inside and out. There's even a hidden party trick here, a virtual holographically inspired central logo that only reveals itself when you breathe on the crystal. Otherwise it's completely invisible. That's a genuinely fun little detail I wasn't expecting. This is where Escudo are flexing their design to show you what is possible. Was that needed? No. Do I think it's cool? Yes. Movement-wise, all 3 are running the Escudo Calibre 1488, which is a Swiss-made subtly decorated base Sellita SW200-1 No Date. 38-hour power reserve, 26 joules running at 28,800 vibrations per hour, or 4 Hz. Water resistance sits at 200 meters across the range, so these aren't just desk divers. They can genuinely go deeper than your swimming pool. So, same skeleton, same heart. What changes is the dial, the bezel, and how each one's dressed. But before we move on to the Atlantic Sky, can I please ask you to hit that subscribe button, like the video if you're enjoying it so far, and come follow me over on Instagram. Thanks for your support. Alright, remember that Black Bay chat from earlier? This is exactly where it ends, because the dials are where Escudo truly does its own thing. Bright sunburst dials that genuinely pop with color. My favorite's the Atlantic Sky. That light baby blue sunburst with the polished bezel is gorgeous, striking the perfect balance of fun and refinement. Then there's the Midnight Emerald. I'm a sucker for a green sunburst, and Escudo's nailed it here. Depending on the light, you get these shifting dark and light tones, and with that black bezel, it feels like more of an everyday tool watch than the other 2. And the Burnt Horizon is a stunning shade of orange. Honestly, if I lived somewhere sunnier and wasn't quite so boring, I'd have this one. Give it a black bezel option, Escudo, and it could win the hearts of conservative collectors like me as well. So all three share fantastic symmetry thanks to those arrow-shaped markers at 12, 3, 6 and 9, complemented by the bezel markings, and later on, I'll show you what these look like at night. You'll want to stick around for that. Let's talk bezels for a minute, because Escudo don't just give you one option here, they offer a proper range of different bezel styles across the collection. You've got steel versions and you've got matte aluminium in a whole range of colors. So there's plenty of scope to customize the look of your watch to suit you. Every single model gets 3D loomed numbers and markers, and every one of them features that bi-colored time-elapsed triangle in the Portuguese flag colors. It's a really nice touch, and it adds a proper bit of flair to what could otherwise be a fairly standard dive bezel. But it's the action that impresses me most. It's precise, and every single click feels like you're operating a bolt-action rifle. There's some lovely, satisfying clicks to it as well. This isn't quite Tudor levels of perfection, but it's one of the most satisfying bezels I have operated from any micro brand recently. Right, let's move on to straps and bracelets, because this is another area where Escudo don't hold back. You get a genuinely wide range of options to choose from across the collection. Alongside the CTS rubber and the 3-link steel bracelet we've already touched on, there's also leather, nylon and even parachute style straps in the lineup, so there's plenty of scope to change up the whole personality of the watch depending on your mood. That CTS system is worth touching on again here, because it's honestly one of my favorite little details across the whole range. Cut to size means you trim the rubber precisely to your own wrist, and paired with that leaf spring deployant clasp, it just disappears on the wrist in the best possible way. And on the bracelet side, that fold-over clasp with the push-button micro adjustment is such a simple, thoughtful touch. Being able to fine-tune your fit on the move without tools, without faff, is the kind of feature I wish more micro brands would bother including. Whichever way you configure one of these, Escudo have clearly thought about how people actually wear their watches day to day, and that versatility is a real point in their favor. Right, let's talk Lume, because this is genuinely one of the highlights of the whole range. The performance here is excellent. At night, these things don't just glow, they look like a proper compass, like an actual navigation tool built for exploring, which fits the whole brand story perfectly. That bi-color lume is something I really like too, though I'll be honest, it's not going to be to everyone's taste. Some of you will prefer a single uniform glow, and that's fair enough. Low light performance is properly good as well. The moment the lights go off, the results from the Super Luminova are genuinely impressive. Now, if we're comparing this to Tudor, which is an absolute standout performer for Lume in any league, Escudo isn't quite there yet. But honestly, if you're sat there complaining about the Lume on the Ocean Seacrest, you need your head examined. Right, final thoughts time, and I want to start with something a bit broader. The micro-brand space is genuinely the most exciting corner of watch collecting for me right now, both as a collector and as someone who reviews these things as a hobby. And brands like Escudo are exactly why. They manage to feel familiar while still doing their own thing, and you can tell there's real pride taken in what they are building. Which brings me on to something I've deliberately saved for the end, the price. At just under £1,700, this sits firmly in the luxury micro-brand tier. And the real question, the one that matters most to micro-brand buyers, is whether you're actually getting value for money. In terms of the watch itself, this is a genuinely top-quality product, and there's more than enough here to justify charging a premium. Where I think some collectors might struggle is that 38-hour power reserve at this price point. Just something worth flagging. Now, if you've got a big collection and you're rotating watches regularly, honestly, power reserve doesn't matter one bit. What matters far more is accuracy and crown feel, and both of those are excellent here. So where does that leave me? I really like what Escudo are doing, and they're going straight onto my micro-brand shortlist, especially the Atlantic Sky. Since leaving that watch show a few months back, I haven't been able to get that watch out of my head, and honestly, that's always a good sign. Spending proper time with it has only reinforced what I thought the first time I saw it. Let's see how long I can resist the urge, which is a daily struggle when you're reviewing watches every week. So that's it for today, folks. Remember to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel. And until next time, keep on ticking.